I got a tough message from a mom, a business owner, who sent an audio voice text over, and she said, "I'm feeling trapped by my business." Hey, it's Scott Beebe with Business on Purpose. I thought it'd be helpful to have a unique discussion at the time of this recording on a Monday, 5 days before I walk my daughter down the aisle. Pretty exciting. Hey, make sure to go to mybusinessonpurpose.com/healthy, and you can get a healthy metric of the business that you're leading right now. So this mom sent us a voice memo saying, "I don't see my husband or my kids anymore. Money's not the issue. I just don't have the time. I feel trapped by my business." This mom is trying to wear the superhero cape in life and at work and feels she is doing neither very well, brewing a mental cocktail of disillusionment about the value and the gift of business, while also fueling 100-proof guilt straight from the still of societal expectations. Life and business necessarily intersect. We say it a lot. And they can be of mutual value to each other. Humans were created as a gift to one another. So too work was created as a means of mimicking small little moments of creation each and every day. This treatise that I'm speaking to you now is a small act of creating something new, something that did not exist before I got that voice memo. It's a small contribution of work. This morning, I was able to sit with my daughter for a short breakfast, just she and I out at a local place, a mere 5 days before she is to marry her fiance. I'm not able to hide my family emotion from my work creation, and I'm not able to hide my work creation from my family emotion. The space for breakfast was set and crafted long before this morning. Without a predetermined understanding of what our business was intended for in the first place, I could have easily slotted some urgent felt task in that slot that was unmovable. Years ago, though, I made the determination that I would not do my core work of coaching on Mondays or Fridays. Why? Stay with me. I needed space. I needed margin. Foregoing Monday and Friday coaching options was also a confession that we would be limiting our possible income due to the restriction of available revenue-generating hours in any given week. Now, this does not mean I do no work on Mondays and Fridays. In fact, those 2 days are usually very full for me. On the contrary, some of my deepest creation work is done on Monday and Friday, as I create a series of one-on-one appointments with myself to create and implement that work that will ultimately benefit hundreds and thousands beyond me for years to come, including this that I'm speaking to you right now, created on a Monday. Those are hours that I have cashed in for the margin of availability. Availability for my daughter to have a final breakfast before she assumes a last name and a role that I no longer have a primary say in. It's the availability to hop on a call with a frustrated client, to chat with a wisdom-seeking team member, or maybe to just stare out the window and contemplate big next steps. The burden of being trapped is usually at the fault of providing ourselves no boundaries, and therefore no margin. I'd like to say that again. The burden of being trapped is usually at the fault of providing ourselves no boundaries, and therefore no margin. You might watch a basketball game on television. You'll quickly see that the boundary of a court offers the margin for the spectators, the journalists, the team trainers, the coaches, the television cameras, and a variety of other support that allows freedom for the players to do what they are best at. Could the leagues cram more games into a season and theoretically earn more money? Yes, of course. But to what damage? Exhaustion, fatigue, bitterness, frustration, isolation, all of those are planted in the soil of a boundaryless life, a day-to-day without proper forethought, proper scheduling, and proper perspective. So here we are, 5 days out from walking my daughter into a new life, sending her off into a new narrative with a new teammate and a new last name. In that moment, it's hard to run from the cliches of time chasing you down, reminding you that your parents and your grandparents were right when they pinched your cheek and pitifully cocked their head and softly spilled the truth that time really does move fast. Success probably needs to be redefined. Success is not a metric, but instead success is health, presence, eyes to see, ears to hear. In the popular book, In Praise of Slowness, Carl Honoré writes, studies show that people who feel in control of their time are more relaxed, creative, and productive. Apps have turned much of life into a social competitive league of perpetual window shopping through the grams and the reels and the snaps of our incessant posting. In her well-written book that I'm going through just now, Saving Time by Jenny Odell, she laments that you can shop for life itself in a virtual mall where posts about self-care and retreat come across as ads for self-care and retreat. Tap to add this to your life. No corner of our attention is spared from the incandescent glow of the best of everyone else, in contrast to the dark world of my own limitations. We work harder like desperate gamblers trading in another bank of minutes from our limited supply out to the open market in hopes that we will strike it big in the form of achievement, knowing that it too will soon be gone. Ironically, in all this talk of weddings, I was at a funeral yesterday, 6 days prior to my daughter's wedding. A powerful paradox, a juxtaposed emotion from what soon will come. In 2 hours of funeraling together, there was not one mention of the 89-year-old man's net worth, and not one accolade of the overtime that he put in at work. The one theme throughout the 2-hour reflection was presence. He was there. He was silly. He was faithful. It used to be thought that she who dies with the most toys wins. Instead, may we believe that she who boundaries her time to be available both on the court and in the margin is the one who wins. She who makes time for breakfast with her daughter and the planned team meeting. She who makes time for exercise and the budget reports. She who makes time for kids' activities and sales appointments. The bad news is that we're only allowed 168 hours in a week, but the good news is that you have access to a full bank of 168 hours in any given week. And for the most part, you decide how those hours are used and who those hours are used for. It will cost you either way, and you alone will determine the value of that cost, either for the short term or for the long term. You can window shop the infinite screens of the other, or you can be content with yourself, with the value of who you've been built to be and designed to be, which is finite and unique. Balance is a myth. Rhythm is reality. Boundaries allow for rhythm, both on the court and in the margin.